Hey, what's up, y'all? We're back with another one. Let's check this clip out.
And speaking of basketball, that's where we're going to go on this final topic of the night, Steph Curry. And we talked about a little bit, if you weren't listening earlier, with Antonio Daniels about Steph Curry saying that if the Warriors become bottom feeders, maybe he'll move on. And Rob G., he was talking to Mark Spears from ESPN and Anscape, right?
Yeah, friend of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark is someone I helped mentor when he first started, if you could believe that, in his career. Crazy. But anyway, you have the quotes, Rob G.
Yeah, so Mark spoke to him about a long-form piece, and during the conversation, he asked Steph, he said, hey, you saw the type of lackluster teams that Kobe and Dirk had into their careers. Should we be assumed that you'd be fine with just anyone during the rest of your career playing solely for the Warriors? And Steph started out like you'd expect. He said, hey, at this stage in my career, I always felt like it was possible to be a Warrior for life. And he goes on, and then he says, this is where he kind of puts his foot in his mouth. I'll continue to make the decisions that are best for me and for my career at the end of the day when it comes to just the imagination. I want to win. Let's put it this way. It's a long-winded way of saying that if it is a situation where you're a bottom feeder and it's just because you want to stay there, I'd have a hard time with that, but I don't think that's going to be the reality.
Wow. I just, Andy, I'll say this, and I'm not saying, if you remember the end of Kobe's career, Rob G., correct me if I'm wrong, the Lakers didn't make the playoffs his last 5 years, is that correct? It's like 5 or 6 years, Andy, they didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
Part of it was people didn't want to come play with Kobe. Nobody ever wants to talk about it. Rob G., am I speaking out of turn?
No, not necessarily, no.
Nobody wanted to come play with him. Dwight Howard, Andy, left $30 million on the table to go to Houston to get away from Kobe. You think he wants that money now? $30 million to leave L.A. And my point here is, it's okay that you're not title contenders, or you don't have a maybe all the way legitimate shot to win. I don't understand it. Derek Jeter played 20 full seasons for the New York Yankees. Their last championship was 2009, Andy. He retired in 2014. 5 years. They didn't win.
Right.
Is it the end of the – do you look at Derek Jeter and oh, my God, the last 5 years he didn't win. Kobe, the last 5 or 6 years, didn't make the playoffs. Do you think there's still people who tell you Kobe's the GOAT? He's better than Michael and LeBron. They don't say, well, he didn't even make the playoffs the last 5 years.
But things change. And let me give an example. I can switch sports for a second. Things change because people are worried about, athletes are worried about their legacy. When they retire, their last stop. What would I like? All right? I'll give you an example in football. Dan Marino and Eli Manning. Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls. Dan Marino never won any. But the way they worship Eli Manning right now, Eli Manning couldn't shine Dan Marino's shoes.
If you ask most people who's a better quarterback, 99% will say Dan Marino, okay? And I get it.
I would hope. I would hope so.
They would, 99.
Dan Marino is the godfather of the forward pass in the National Football League.
There's no doubt about it. And so I get that. But there were people, even without a championship for Dan Marino, were saying that he was their GOAT. He was the most prolific. This guy was unbelievable. His second year, they went to the Super Bowl. He threw 50 touchdowns. This isn't like now where they throwing every down, Andy.
Right.
This was a different brand of football.
Right.
He was that great, okay? But it doesn't negate how great Dan Marino was. And Steph won 4 championships, correct? That you can't take that away from him, even if he finishes out his career and the last 4 years the Warriors don't win. I just don't understand that. If he goes to another team and they don't win the last 4 years, what does that mean? Does that change does that change anything? If he were to go to the Lakers and then they don't win a championship for 4 years.
I'm trying to go back in history and look back in history and maybe things have stayed the same.
Michael Jordan went to Washington. They didn't make the playoffs his last 2 years.
You're right. But you know what? Maybe the more things change, maybe the more they stay the same. I'll give you an example. I'm going way back in time because I love basketball, and I'll go back to the days when Bill Russell played against Will Chamberlain. Will Chamberlain is never considered, when they talk about the greatest players of all time in the NBA, his name is never mentioned. Never mentioned. Guy averaged 50 points a game one year. All right? Wilt Chamberlain may have been the most dominant player ever to put on a uniform in the NBA. Never mentioned. Why? Because how many championships did he win? In 67, he won a championship with the 76ers, right? I mean, other than that, he was dominated all the time by Bill Russell. And Bill Russell, to me, was a great player, but it's almost like what we talked about with the San Francisco 49ers. He had great thoroughbreds with him on that team. He had the Jones boys. He had all those guys, Casey and Sam Jones. He had Jim Luskatoff. He had Tommy Heinsohn. You name him, he had him on. Tom Sanders. They had great players on those Celtic teams. You know, maybe Chamberlain didn't. But to me, Chamberlain was dominant, and if they ever have a Mount Rushmore in the NBA, he has to be on that mountain.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened here. My phone just slipped up. Andy, that was crazy. There's no doubt, but I do think that people are so caught up in this thing, like it's a birthright. Like you have to be in the mix or the hunt. That's what you seen LeBron James destroy franchises by giving up young players, right? Because he's got to be in the mix. That hasn't helped LeBron. They've made all the moves. He still has his 4 championships, right? He's about to play season number 20. LeBron could play 24 seasons. If he doesn't win, how does that? He won his 4 championships. He's the leading scorer of all time. What are you going to take away from him?
I don't know, but I think it's what you remember him by when he ends his career, when one ends a career.
Michael Jordan ended his career on a sad note, going to the hapless Washington Wizards.
He still averaged 20 a game.
I know, but they didn't even make half the league makes the playoffs, Andy.
Right.
And a team, Michael Jordan and 4 other guys couldn't make the playoffs.
What's up, y'all? I want to thank you so much for tapping with me. Make sure to claim your 30K bonus as soon as you sign up with the link down below. If you click the link down below and sign up, you'll be able to get your 30K bonus. You have to deposit money. So, for example, you can start with $50. $100, $200, it's up to you. So I'm gonna leave a link down below, and as soon as you click the link and deposit money, you can claim your bonus. Then you use your money that you deposit and also the bonus, and you use that money to trade crypto with. You best believe that it's gonna be a big crypto bull run this year, and you're gonna be able to make a lot of money. So make sure to click the link down below and claim your 30K bonus. Alright, y'all, so that was Rob Parker from The Odd Couple in the Usually Do show with Chris Broussard. And I want to give a big shout out to Chris Broussard and Rob Parker at The Odd Couple. And what he said, he mentioned that Steph Curry, he's been asked, will you ever leave the Golden State? And that is something that we've all been thinking about for the past couple of years. Is there ever a chance that Steph Curry is actually going to leave the Golden State? And Steph Curry, he said that his goal has always been to be playing for the Golden State for the rest of his career in the NBA. That is his goal. But he also said that you never know. There's a big chance that he's going to leave if the money is right, and if they're at the bottom and don't make it to the playoffs, there's a big chance that he's actually going to be leaving the Golden State. And when that happens, that's going to be a very sad day for the Golden State, because we all remember when we used to have, KD, Steph Curry, all the best players at the Golden State, but that is no longer the case. It seems like they're leaving the Golden State one after another. And I actually think that that is going to be the case with Steph Curry. One day he's just going to wake up and think that he needs to leave the Golden State, and he will be doing that. So, I want to know what y'all think about this. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.